What's going on, Jungle Crew? Hopefully, everything is going your way on this amazing day. Currently, for me, it is Tuesday morning, about 6:30 in the morning. Just got through packaging a ton of orders. I'm getting ready to get them all shipped out. And if you've been following along this long, or this far, I should say, we've been running a mini series. Had a variety of different topics that we've discussed. We talked about lots. We've talked about how to be able to sort them. We've talked about what it kind of takes to be able to move the needle forward on a day to day basis, running your own TCG business. And if there is something that you want to do, if starting a TCG business, if you are not convinced thus far, or maybe you're just thinking about it and you're just tuning in, first and foremost, welcome to the jungle. Welcome in. Truly appreciate y'all. If it is something that you're thinking about doing, if it's something that you want to maybe take the next step in, use it as a side hustle, test it out, see if you like it. Well, hopefully you've come to the right place. Hopefully you enjoy some of the content. Check out some of our older previous videos. I'm going to go like this and hopefully they'll appear somewhere. We'll see. Who knows? It's a little inside joke. But today, let's talk a little bit about lots. Let's talk about what it looks like to be able to acquire lots. A couple of ways that I go about trying to source lots because let's be real. When it comes to business, you've really got two things that matter. Only two things that matter. It's debatable if you'd like, but really when it boils down to it, only two things that matter. One is increasing the cash flow, how much money you've got coming in, and the other one is decreasing expenses. For the expense side, we do have something to be able to help you track that. It's called the TCG Money Map. Check it out. It's on the website, JungleGamesENT.com. Against JungleGamesENT.com. Go into the Learn category. Go ahead, download that. It'll help you track all of your expenses. Talk about when you're able to document buying lots. It'll show you, it's got a calculator in there to help you make sure that you're buying at your 70% mark or 75%. Set it however you feel comfortable, whatever your risk tolerance is. But again, so it's increasing the cash flow or decreasing expenses. And how do you increase that cash flow? Well, you've got to have product, you've got to have inventory, you've got to have some way to be able to have something that somebody would like to purchase, right? Because that's how you're able to bring things in. Now, debatably, you could increase the amount of pricing that you've got to be able to, that's fine. We'll get into all of those details, especially on TCG Player when it comes to being able to use your mass pricing tool to set the prices. But let's just boil this down. Let's take a few steps back and let's talk about how we increase our inventory size. And that's buying lots. That's what we do. Currently, to date, we've got about 3,000 sales on TCG Player. It is, well, we just started April, and we started in June of last year. So in not even a year's time, we've got just about 3,000 sales, and we've just been using these same strategies. Some of them didn't work in the very beginning. Some work right now. And we just don't try to document our journey across the board as we continue to move forward. And we just give this knowledge out. We just want to try to help. We want to try to give back. So one of my favorite ways to be able to do so, one of my favorite ways to be able to source lots is using Facebook Marketplace. I'm not going to screen share and do all of that unless you guys want to. Write it down below. Put hashtag show me everything, right? Show me everything. If you want me to go ahead and do one of those or a screenshot and actually show you exactly everything that I type out, we can go ahead. We can run this back. We can make that happen. But for right now, I'm just going to give you a very high overview level, bird's eye view, if you will, of what it looks like. And then we can boil it down if you guys so choose, if something that you guys would find value in. But what I do, and as you guys know, and those that are new, you wouldn't know until I just tell you right now. So my son and I, we started this business back in June of last year, back in June of 2025. And what I do to be able to source when I use Facebook Marketplace is I just write a quick message. And I try to establish a couple of different things. My message is typically somewhere around the lines of, hey, how you doing? I don't use that generic, is this product still available, or is this still up for grabs? Or whatever Facebook prompts you to want to say, I get rid of all that. That stuff doesn't work. I want it to be a little bit more personable, and I'll get into that why. I'll get into why here in a bit. But I write a customized message, and I just say, hey, my son and I, we started a TCG selling business. We buy at 70%. We're curious if you'd be willing to sell at 70%. Something to that effect. Just that simple. One, what that does is it just opens me up to not be or seem very like robotic or very AI because I'm not using that generic stuff. I'm actually giving a heartfelt message. I'm also putting some emotion behind it to say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to accomplish. I'm trying to make a connection with the person that's out there. I know it's business, but as you guys know, I'm a social worker by trade. I always like to try to make that establish that kind of connection, even before we even dive into full conversation. The last thing I do is I establish my purchasing price. I say I want to buy at 70%. Now, Are you going to be Steph Curry when you step up? I don't know nothing about sports, but I know Steph Curry's the name, and I know he does an amazing job in basketball. So, yeah, are you going to be Steph Curry? Are you going to be able to shoot, your shot every single time and get it 100%? Heck no, dude. Heck no. You're probably going to be sitting at maybe 25% in the very beginning at best of being able to close some of these deals. But it's consistency. It's being able to establish that repetition and getting your reps in, right? So don't feel ashamed. Don't feel bad about rejection. And if you come up with a message very similar to mine or customized where you're just able to establish a relationship to a real person, you're reaching out, this is what you're trying to accomplish, and this is the price that you buy it at. And it just so happens that you're able to make that connection and be able to purchase that, you're going to be winning. You're going to be winning at 70%, you should be set. Sometimes they might come back and say, "Hey, unfortunately, it's already sold," or "Hey, unfortunately, I can't go that low. I can only go to 75. I can only go to 80%. I can go to 82%, whatever it is." Now, at that point, that's up to you to again understand your risk tolerance, understand where you need to be at to be able to make sure that your profit margins are going to be right where they need to fall, and then of course, naturally, you're going to want to make sure that you're checking the inventory. I'll back it up just a little bit. The other piece to this that I want to make sure that I'm clear on, Facebook Marketplace is where I like to go to be able to purchase. But as you start to grow, as you start to get more people that are reaching out to you, whether you're in groups, whether it's Facebook Marketplace, whether it's going in other different directions, we'll get into that here in a second. But what I found that makes it the easiest is using either the Collector app or the TCGplayer app. Both of those places, both of those resources allow them to be able to put and categorize their entire list, and it breaks it down very similar, like real time, of how the valuation of each one of the cards. That helps me a lot. I don't personally like to buy a bunch of bulk. Sometimes in my deals, in my acquisitions, when I'm going out there and I'm purchasing these lots, people just throw it in there. I'm not going to say no. But it's just not a part of my business strategy. It just doesn't work too well for me because it just takes a lot of time. So I like to see exactly what it is that I'm purchasing. I want to see exactly some of the high-end dollar cards. $5 and up is my sweet spot. I really enjoy those. $4 is okay because on TCG Player you're still going to get that. I got my shipping set to $1.31. So because of that, if it's a $4 card, I'm still going to be above $5. It works really well for me in my strategy. Now, let's move forward a little bit. So you got the Facebook Marketplace. The next one, if you're into the hobby, whether it's One Piece, Pokemon, Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, doesn't matter, and you've got yourself an LGS, shorthand for a local game store. If you've got a local game store and you've got connections with folks that are out there that are just playing competitively, or maybe Commander, EDH, any of those, whatever style of game that they're playing, if they're playing especially competitively and they're rotating their decks into whatever the next best deck is, they've got cards that they might not necessarily want. Now, I'm not saying do this inside of the game store. I'm saying establish a relationship. I'm not saying go in there and you walk into somebody else's business and say, "Hey, post up a sign, I'm buying at 70%. No. Nate is not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, if that is an avenue that you do, if you go to an LGS, if you go to your local game store, you establish this kind of relationship and you have Discord connections with them or outside connections with those folks that you've made that kind of relationship with or have that rapport with, reach out to them. Say, "Hey, just so you guys know, I do buy at 70%, or again, whatever your margin is. And if you guys are ever looking to, get rid of some cards to be able to, replenish some of that capital that you spent on the cards that you currently have, let me know. I'm buying." It's another method. Should work really well for you. Hopefully. If not, let me know. We can brainstorm down below. And then lastly, and this is a secret sauce that I found within the last few months, and I probably shouldn't be giving out this game, but this is one of the ones that I really, really like. If in your market you have card shows is the secret sauce. All right. So what I do is card shows that usually last from like 9 to 2 or some go in like the afternoon or the evening. Doesn't matter. They're a couple hours long. You'll have vendors all across the board. And sometimes these card shows are a day or two long. But what I like to do is I like to establish relationships when I go in there and I walk around. I'll usually go in and probably an hour or two before it ends at most. I'll walk around. We are trying to complete our set right over here. We've got a jungle set that my son and I are working on. So I'll make connections. I'll make social media content. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you haven't yet followed, we'd love a like, share, subscribe, all the fun things. But I like to just have fun, like to connect. But right before it ends, when everybody's packing up, that's when some serious deals can be made, some serious deals. Because what happens at these card shows, people are coming in super early. If the card show starts like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, they've left an hour or two beforehand, loaded everything in their vehicle, went to the show. Sometimes their shows could be okay, sometimes their shows are excellent. But towards the end of the show, when it's time to go back home, they got to do everything in reverse. They got to load everything right back up. They got to then throw it back in their car afterwards, get back there, take it all the way home, recategorize. Man, they were there to try to sell things. So especially if they've had a really good show, especially if they had a really good weekend, and they just got a few things, maybe they have a $1 binder that's just chilling there full of a bunch of cards, or a $2 or a $5 binder. What I've done is I just walk up and I look at it, I'll go through and I'll see the stuff that I'd like, and I say, hey, let me try to help you out. If you're okay with it, I'd like to just purchase this whole thing off you. I buy it 70%. If you don't want to haul all this stuff back home, we can make a deal happen right here, right now. What would you like to do? And that works pretty well for me. Again, you're not going to hit 100% of the shots that you take on that one. But if you shoot for the moon and hit a star, you still win. Right? So again, that's the secret sauce that I enjoy doing, because I just enjoy going to the card shows. I enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy, connecting with people. I'm way more of a people person. So that kind of scenario really, really does it for me to be able in that kind of environment. I also love business. So I also like to be able to network and see who I can establish relationships with. Now, the next piece to it that follows up and wraps around to all three of these, that brings it back and encompasses all of them, is making sure that you have follow-up. Use that TCG money map that we were talking about. Document who you bought from, document the date, how much you paid for the lot, all of that fun stuff. We can get into that later. But the reason that's going to be really big for you is because, let's just say a month, 2 months goes by, you haven't heard from this person, they haven't posted anything, you can reach back out. If you've established that kind of relationship and rapport, just say, hey, we're still here. We're still here. We're still buying. If you have anything else that you'd like to, especially if they are trying to master sets, especially if they're moving and grooving and trying to alter decks just to be able to stay competitive, they've got other things. So that way, eventually, and for me now, where it came to is I've got a handful of people now that just reach out to me even before I'm ready to be able to purchase even more lots. Just say, hey, we just ripped a bunch. Nate, you ready to go? Well, okay. Yeah, let's go. Born ready. You're born ready. Stay ready. You gotta get ready, right? So that's just kind of the stuff that I do. Now I can go way more into this. We can get way more granular. But I just kind of wanted to hop on here, give you some of the secret sauce, give you some of the ways that I go about this, some of the things that work well for JGE, Jungle Games Entertainment. Again, welcome. If you stayed this long all the way to the end, put hashtag lots. Hashtag lots. LOTS. Hashtag lots. Go ahead and drop that down below. Make sure you get into the Discord. We do a lot of giveaways. I want to make sure that you guys can register and get caught up with those. And I want to make sure that you guys have your opportunity to try to win some of those free giveaways. Again, they're free. Why wouldn't you? All right, y'all. So with that, that is this video. I will see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.